Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today, we are going to check out the trailer for Neagley, which, if you don't know, Neagley is a character in the Reacher series on Amazon, and she is like number two to Reacher, if you will, and she is very good at computer things, hacking, that kind of thing. Stuff that isn't, quite Reacher's forte. So she's getting her own spinoff. I'm curious if they have Reacher show up at some point. I would hope they would, but there's something about the will he or won't he that's kind of interesting, that kind of keeps you guessing maybe. And I think the character is, in my opinion, likable enough to hold her own show. So we shall see. So let's check out the trailer.
Who are you? Francis Neagley, 124 West Ave, Chicago. Former Master Sergeant of the 110 Special Investigators Unit. Right now.
My apologies, chat. That is going a million miles a minute. Let's slow it down and try again. I'm not a professional.
Who are you? Francis Neagley, 124 West Ave, Chicago. Former Master Sergeant of the 110 Special Investigators Unit.
So this leads me to believe that this is going to take place in Chicago, which I think that's cool. I like Chicago. I like Chicago shows. So okay, I'm in so far.
Right now, you're using that information to find out everything you can about me. Figured I'd save you the trouble.
All right, so I feel like, at least in the Reacher series, she hasn't been like super hands-on firearms. Well, you know what? Strike that. There's an episode of Reacher. Okay, spoilers coming. If you don't want to know, please pause or come back later after you've watched Reacher. She does have someone show up at where she's working to try to eliminate her, and she takes care of business. So yes, she does have firearms in her background. So yeah, maybe not. I think that was like close quarters, so it was more, handguns. But she was in the military. Her backstory checks out. It makes sense. Anyway, moving on.
I'm a PI. You want to learn how to do this work? Look closely.
You know, I am a trained investigator.
Not trained like me. Just a fact.
Right.
All right, so it seems like we've got a police officer type companion here who thinks he knows his stuff, but she's obviously been in the army and in the, I think Reacher, it's like the military police. Excuse me. I think it's the military police. So my guess is that she has better training than him. Makes sense, right? So there you go. She's going to have to let him know, hey, here's what's up. Here's what's up.
Let me lay it out. I need the truth. Neagley!
Okay, I don't know about the jumping off the roof. So I immediately have images of The Other Guys in my head. If you ever saw that movie, that's Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. And at the very beginning of the movie, again, spoilers, please stop watching if you don't want to know. The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson have kind of like a cameo. And there's a scene where they're on the roof of a building and they decide to jump off. And it's done exceptionally well for a comedy. And they're like, let's aim for the bushes or something to that effect. And the Foo Fighters, hero plays, there goes my hero, watch him as he goes. And of course, again, it's comedy and also spoilers, so last chance to click off. They don't hit the bushes, they go splat and die, and then the rest of the movie carries on with Mark and Will. But that that just reminded me of that. And this still image, I don't know. What is going on with his face? He looks like, this gentleman looks like he's I don't know, a little backed up. This is a constipated face, in my opinion. But no offense to the actor, I just randomly stopped it. I'm sure he's regular and everything is fine for his GI tract.
You had your hands full?
Take the shot.
All right, so there it was. There was Reacher. Reacher is clearly making an appearance, which is interesting because Reacher seems to be in like small towns for the most part. Not always, but he seems to end up in these like small town type affairs, if you will. And it's interesting that he's maybe like come back to Chicago to hang out with Neagley. We don't know the timeline of this, so maybe it's in the middle of one of his adventures, if you will. So he came back to check on her, but I'm glad they stuck him in, because while I like Neagley and I think she is deserving, the character is deserving of her own series, I don't think just completely ignoring Reacher is the way to go, if that makes sense. I think you need to acknowledge him. I think you need to, hey, this character came from this guy. She's not well known enough to just like, hey, here's this new character, if you will, if that makes sense. So I'm glad they did that.
God.
It looks like she's ready for a fight. You want to know a secret?
You can't read?
All right, so there you have it. For some reason, there's another 20 seconds of this, so I'm going to let it run to see what happens. Oh, all right, so they're plugging the new season of Reacher. So it looks like Neagley is coming in September, and Reacher has apparently already started, which I guess I'm behind. But yes, Reacher has already come out. And for some reason, Amazon needs more time to plug their other stuff. If you would like to see the Reacher reaction trailer, please check out my other videos. I did do a reaction trailer to that. I think it looked good. And yeah, what do you think? Do you think it's too soon for a spinoff? Because I think we're in Reacher. We're in season 4, so we're getting, I don't say long in the tooth, but we're getting longer in this series. I don't know what the background is on spinoffs and how quickly they occur. The most successful spinoff I can think of is Frasier, right? That was after Cheers ended, and I believe, if memory serves, it's been a long time, mind you, that Frasier started after Cheers, so it wasn't running parallel. I don't know of many spinoffs that have run parallel with the same characters. When I say the same characters, I should say the same actors as the same characters that have been successful. So the one that comes to immediate mind is Young Sheldon, right? So you had The Big Bang Theory with Jim Parsons as Sheldon, and then you had Young Sheldon with, an entire new cast, and, the younger version of him with Jim Parsons being the narrator of that. That was running in parallel for, I think, a season or two. I don't know. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. I'm not a professional here. I'm just going off memory. There were a few seasons where Big Bang and Young Sheldon ran together. But that was not the same. It was the same character, but it was not the same actor or actress playing said character, if that makes sense. So I don't know how successful those have been, but I'm guessing because of the popularity of Reacher that Neagley will do quite well on her own, and bringing in Reacher makes perfect sense. I'm glad they didn't edit him out, that he's at least making some sort of cameo, like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Can I help out? Something, right? So I'm interested. I will be watching this. I apparently need to go ahead and start Reacher. I didn't realize. I've been on vacation. If you if you wonder why I'm behind. But I'm curious. So let me know in the comments. Are you going to watch Neagley? Are you tired of Reacher? Is Reacher not jump the shark, because I don't think they've hit a jump the shark moment, but is it? I feel like after, I don't know, 1 to 3 seasons, things in most either comedies or dramas or action shows, things get a little more formulaic, and I think the characters can somewhat become caricatures of themselves. By that, I mean, I guess I'm speaking to comedies here, but look at shows like Seinfeld and Friends and Big Bang Theory. In the first 2 to 3 seasons, they're very nuanced. They're still people, if you will. And then as the show gets more popular, and as it's more, I don't know if it is or is not focus grouped, but in my mind, it's focus grouped. They say, oh, we love this, we love that. And then the characters end up becoming caricatures of themselves, if that makes sense. They're not so much human as they focus in on like one aspect of their personality, and that becomes their entire personality. So, you know, in the case of Seinfeld, George is just neurotic all day, every day. And if you go back to the early episodes, he's got a little bit more human to him. He's still neurotic, mind you, but he's still a little human. And then same thing with Friends. At first, Joey is not just like the stupid guy. He's an actor and he's trying to make it, and then he kind of becomes the dumb guy. And Phoebe is more of a normal person, and then all of a sudden she's got this like weird edge to her. You know what I mean? And then even in Big Bang Theory, Sheldon becomes more, I don't know, eccentric, if you will, and the other characters, become caricatures of themselves. And it's unfortunate, but I don't blame any of the writers or the shows or the showrunners or even the actors or actresses for that. I think it's just something that kind of happens when a show gets popular, because it becomes more formulaic, and you're expected to, this character does this, so you lean into it because that's what gets the laughs. That's what the audience enjoys. So anyway, let me know what you think. If you disagree with me, I'd love to hear it. And please like, subscribe, and share. And let me know, are you going to watch Neagley? Are you going to watch season 4 of Reacher? Or do you think, you've had enough of Reacher for now? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you all on the next one.